someone without the marks of trauma would be the outlier in our society. Do you think that recognizing that we all appear on the scale of unresolved trauma would help bring back the unity and kindness that we need in the world today?
It would certainly help. As you know, I worked for 12 years in what is probably the Western world's most concentrated area of drug use, Vancouver's downtown east side, and people there are addicted to heroin, cocaine, opiates of all kinds, crystal meth, alcohol, cannabis, of course, nicotine, not to mention. And they're seen as outliers. They're seen as kind of freaks. They're seen as sort of moral degenerates. But actually, when I was working with them, I could recognize in myself all the patterns that they had. I was just lucky that I had the same addictive patterns, not to drugs, but I was addicted to shopping. I was addicted to work. I neglected my own kids' needs and sometimes my own needs, to serve the addiction. All that was different about them is they were more traumatized and less resourced than I was. And if we could recognize ourselves, like in all these mental illnesses that we diagnose as these people are pathological, we all have those traits inside of us. So if we could recognize our commonality rather than our differences, it would certainly help to create more kindness. And the trouble is, we probably want to feel different and above these people. And so we want to see ourselves as different, and then we lose compassion.
We see on social media, there's a lot of people that post these graphics of people from just a few generations ago, people who went through World War I, they went through the Spanish flu, they went through the Depression, and they talk about people who are growing up these days are just nowhere, like they're so weak by comparison, they have no idea just how difficult the world could be. Is that a fair comparison, or is that doing a disservice to this generation?
It's unfair. You can't compare generations. And I would say, no, in some ways, those people were more fortunate than we were. In some ways, we're more fortunate, and I'll need to explain that. You might look upon hunter-gatherers out in the wild. It's really unfortunate, less privileged than we are. But they had something. They had community. They had connection to nature. They had real comfort with their environment. They had a sense of belonging to something much greater. And they were programmed to be supportive of each other, and children were brought up in that. This is based on studies of indigenous peoples. Children had a lot of adults around to nurture them and to support them and to protect them. Our kids don't have that. It's true that economically we're much further ahead, although for a lot of people, with the rising inequality in the world, that's disappearing. I mean, the inequality and its impacts has been burgeoning of decades, and the health impacts are devastating. But on the whole, yes, we're better off still. At the same time, we're more isolated and less connected.